The shackles around Kira's wrists had worn grooves into her blue-scaled skin over the years. She knelt in the cargo hold of the merchant vessel, her large amber eyes fixed on the rusted floor plates. The Vorthic traders spoke in their guttural language above her, discussing her sale price like she was nothing more than livestock. She had been their property for 7 cycles now, ever since her homeworld of Ethros fell to their conquest fleets. The memory of that day still haunted her. The screams of her people, the burning cities, the sight of her parents being dragged away in chains. She had been barely an adult then, her telepathic abilities just beginning to manifest. Those same abilities that made her valuable to the Vorthic also made her a target for their cruelty. The ship's engines hummed as they approached the trade station at Nexus Prime, a lawless frontier hub where sentient beings were bought and sold like commodities. Kira had heard whispers from other slaves about this place, how fortunes were made and lost, how the desperate came to find what civilization wouldn't provide. Captain Gorvex, the largest of the Vorthid traders, yanked her chain. "Move, creature. Time to find you a new master." Kira stumbled to her feet, her legs weak from malnutrition. The other slaves around her shared the same hollow look of broken spirits. They had learned, as she had, that resistance only brought pain. The trade station's atmosphere was thick with smoke and the stench of unwashed bodies. Merchants hawked their wares, while buyers examined potential purchases with cold calculation. Kira was led to a platform where she was forced to stand under harsh lights, her chains rattling with each movement. Bidders gathered around, their eyes evaluating her worth. Most were mining corporations looking for expendable labor or wealthy collectors seeking exotic servants. Kira kept her gaze down, having learned long ago that eye contact with potential buyers only invited worse treatment. "Telepathic abilities confirmed," Orvex announced to the crowd. "Useful for communication, translation, and mental labor. Starting bid is 5,000 credits." The bidding began in earnest. Kira closed her eyes and tried to retreat into her mind, a coping mechanism she had developed during the worst times. But something made her look up, a gentle presence that seemed different from the harsh mental emanations of the other bidders. Human stood at the back of the crowd. He was unremarkable in appearance, wearing simple clothes and carrying himself with quiet dignity. His brown hair was streaked with gray, and his kind eyes met hers with something she hadn't seen in years. Compassion. The bidding reached 8,000 credits, far more than most slaves commanded. The human stepped forward. 10,000. He said simply. The crowd fell silent. It was an absurd amount for a single slave. Gorvex's eyes gleamed with greed as he called for higher bids, but none came. The human's offer stood. "Sold to the human," Gorvex declared, his voice dripping with satisfaction. The human approached the platform as the crowd dispersed. Up close, Kira could see the weathered lines around his eyes, the calluses on his hands that spoke of honest work. He handed over the credits without hesitation. "My name is Tom," he said quietly, his voice carrying no threat. "I'm going to take you somewhere safe." Kira flinched as he reached for her chains, expecting a blow. Instead, Tom's hands worked gently at the locks, his touch careful not to hurt her already wounded wrists. As shackles fell away with a metallic clang that echoed like freedom itself. "You're free," Tom said, stepping back to give her space. "These chains will never bind you again." Kira stared at him in disbelief. In her experience, kindness was always a prelude to cruelty. She waited for the trap, the hidden price, the moment when his true nature would reveal itself. Instead, Tom offered her his jacket. "You're cold. Here, take this." The simple gesture broke something inside her. Tears she had held back for years began to fall. Tom made no move to touch her, simply stood nearby as she wept for everything she had lost and everything she had endured. Why? She whispered, her voice hoarse from disuse. Tom looked out at the bustling station, at the casual cruelty that surrounded them. Because everyone deserves to be free. Because kindness is the only thing that makes us truly human. He led her to his small transport ship, a modest vessel that spoke of practical use rather than luxury. The interior was clean and comfortable, with a small galley and sleeping quarters. Tom showed her to a private cabin. "This is yours," he said. "The door locks from the inside. You can come and go as you please." Kira touched the door control with trembling fingers, hardly believing what she was seeing. A room of her own, with privacy and safety. It was more than she had dared to dream. Over the following days, as Tom's ship traveled through space, Kira began to understand that his kindness was genuine. He never demanded anything from her, never raised his voice or his hand. He simply treated her like a person worthy of respect. He was a teacher, he explained, traveling between frontier worlds to establish schools for refugee children. His life was dedicated to helping others rebuild what war and exploitation had destroyed. "I've seen what cruelty can do," Tom told her one evening as they shared a simple meal. "But I've also seen what kindness can accomplish. One person treating another with dignity can change everything." Kira nodded, feeling something she hadn't experienced in years' hope. Her telepathic abilities, once a source of suffering, began to seem like a gift again. She could help Tom communicate with the diverse species they encountered, could help traumatized children feel safe and understood. "Would you like to help me?" Tom asked. "The children need someone who understands their pain." Kira looked at her hands, no longer marked by shackles. She thought of all the small beings still suffering in chains, still believing that cruelty was all the universe had to offer. "Yes," she said firmly. "I want to help." As their ship set course for the next world in need, Kira felt something she had thought lost forever: purpose. In the hands of a kind human, she had found not just freedom, but a reason to use that freedom to help others find their own.